Welcome back to Showcase Pittsburgh on KDKA TV. I'm John Cline. Today, 7 businesses on the show. But right now, Mary Jo Maynard and Jennifer Petrie-Signore from the DePaul School for Hearing and Speech. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you.
So let's start at the beginning. What is the DePaul School?
The DePaul School for Hearing and Speech is located in Shadyside, and we teach children who are deaf or hard of hearing to listen and speak without the use of sign language. Our students range from 18 months to 15 years.
At what age do you realize that a student or a child might have a hearing issue or a difficulty in hearing? Is it 18 months or is it even younger than that?
It's often younger than that. Some children are identified at birth through the newborn hearing screening. In other children, it's a progressive loss that takes place at a later time in childhood, but in many cases it's young. Did you wanna?
Right.
Now, you are the principal at the DePaul School. All these students coming in, how many students do we have in the greater Pittsburgh area at the DePaul School right now?
Well, currently we have about 60 children.
Okay.
We do serve all of the neighboring counties and many of the school districts. We even have students that come from West Virginia and Ohio.
Yeah, we talked before we got started about parents who drive, an hour or 2 hours each way because this is the only school like this in the entire region.
Yes.
So you guys are doing something that is neat. And you said the ultimate goal of the school is to do what?
The ultimate goal is to actually get these students back into their mainstream neighborhood schools.
Is that something that each student is going to take a different amount of time, where it might be, a year, or some students for, multiple years?
Yes, it's actually individual for each student. For students that are getting into our program at 18 months, oftentimes they're leaving by the time they're 4 or 5, going into preschool and kindergarten. If a student comes into our school a little bit later, maybe around age 3 or 4, they might stay with us until 2nd grade, but we get them out as soon as they're ready.
Is it a challenge to get a child back into a regular school, or is it something that they're confident and they're ready to go?
Well, we have a lot of programs that also support that. First of all, it's really making sure that they have access to all of that sound, and so that they can develop the speech and language and close that gap with their hearing peers. And then when they are ready, we have data that shows that. And we spend a lot of time preparing the receiving school, helping the parents recognize their role, and helping the receiving school know what to do when the child moves into their program.
Do all of the receiving schools have all of the technology that might be needed, or is that something that you have to work with the school?
We have 3 audiologists at DePaul School,
okay,
and they service our children in the building, but they also will make sure that each child has whatever hearing device or whatever support that they might need when they move into the mainstream.
Now, you told me that you've been at the school for a couple of years. Has technology changed a lot in your span as principal at the DePaul School?
Absolutely. When I started at DePaul School, children wore hearing aids, they wore FM systems, but a lot of the profoundly deaf children did not have access to all the speech sounds, so we did a lot of visual support with speech reading. Now, with the cochlear implants, with the digital hearing aids, all of the children at DePaul School have access to all of the speech sounds. They can hear them. So now we really develop language auditorily first, just like a natural acquisition of language. Children learn language through listening, so do our students.
Is it something where somebody who might have been totally deaf years ago now has options as they go through life?
Yes and no. There's a time factor in terms of brain plasticity. When a child is diagnosed early and they receive that amplification, that cochlear implant, then it's a matter of really training the brain to learn to listen to those sounds, to detect them, discriminate them, and identify them, and then gradually produce them.
So the earlier the better?
Oh, definitely, the earlier the better. After a certain age, I would say after 7 or 8, it's way more difficult for someone to learn spoken language.
How can the community get involved with the DePaul School in Shadyside?
There's a number of ways. Obviously with any nonprofit, donating to our school to help support our programs is always welcome. We have a lot of events that go on throughout the year. Coming up later this month on April 29th, we're having a fun event called Mustaches and Microbrews, which is hosted by our Young Professionals Committee. That's going to take place down at the Pittsburgh Opera. Should be a lot of fun. Coming up in July, we'll be having our golf outing, which we have every year, and then of course our gala in the fall. So we try to keep the community involved.
Is it a big deal for you to pick out your mustache a little bit early? What are we wearing? I don't know. Are you going to do the handlebar this year, or are you going to do the big bushy one like that? So is this something that when people find out that there aren't a lot of schools like this, are people surprised that there's only one, and how far in the students come? I mean, I was.
Yes, I think so. And I think that's the most important piece. DePaul School is an option. It's an option for parents who want their child, even their profoundly deaf child, to learn how to listen and speak and participate as you and I do. And so, sometimes parents don't know that. Even parents of deaf children don't always have that information. And so it's important for us that they know that listening and spoken language programs exist, and that DePaul is right here and willing to help and to serve those children.
If you need some more information about the DePaul School for Hearing and Speech, you can call either of these ladies, 412-924-1012, or log on to DePaulHearingAndSpeech.org. That does it for today's show. I'm John Cline, and I will see you on the next Pittsburgh Showcase.